This is the Groseville Police Commission of February 17th, 2026. Pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, do I hear any modifications to the agenda?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to
Motion to adjourn, or to modify, please.
modify.
And that is,
We'd like to move up the action items above the presentations, please.
very good. So actually, we're gonna do that first, right? So above even the approved, yes, above the presentations. Thank you.
please.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Do I hear a motion to approve the agenda as modified?
I'll motion.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Moving on then. Action item. Chief.
First one is the approval for the Groseville Police Commission meeting scheduled for 26/27. Second is the approval of a purchase, to purchase a vehicle for GIPD for the replacement of 16-0, which was totaled in a car deer accident in 2025. And the third is approved to promote Officers Pete Darzniak and John Canterbury to sergeants effective immediately.
Very good. All right. So on the first one with the approval of the schedule for 26/27, any discussions, any concerns that we have? No. Okay. Business as normal then. Go ahead.
Make a motion?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the Groseville Commission meeting schedule for 26 and 27.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. And the approval to purchase the vehicle for replacement of 16-0. Do I hear a motion? Motion? And then we'll get into discussion.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to approve the purchase of the vehicle for replacement of 16-0.
Okay. And discussion?
Yes, I think it's very important to point out that this purchase is for a used vehicle, correct, Chief?
That is correct.
Thank you.
And the reason being, we were looking at the cost to replace it with a brand-new vehicle. We knew what our payout was on our insurance. We knew how much what we actually wanted to spend, and it's a cost savings. It's cost-effective for the budget and what we're trying to accomplish at the department.
Very good. Any other discussion?
No, but you
Do I
need
hear
a second.
Thank you.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Approval of Officer Darzniak and Canterbury to sergeant position. Do I hear a
Make
motion?
To approve Officers Darzniak and Canterbury to their sergeant's position effective immediately.
All right. Discussion. Chief, I'll let you weigh in on that first.
I'm going to step up to the...
Thank you.
So if I could have Lieutenant, Deputy Chief, and Sergeant Darzniak and Sergeant Canterbury come up. You guys stand right here. No, not yet. Just one. One thing that I wanted to say for these promotions, and I've known these gentlemen for a long time, today it's about earned leadership. Sergeant Darzniak and Sergeant Canterbury, this promotion reflects on your hard work, professionalism, and commitment to this department and our community. You've earned the trust of your peers and your supervisors, and that matters. With the rank comes greater responsibility as leaders and role models. And with that rank, I have full confidence you're ready for that challenge. And congratulations to both of you. Well deserved, and we're proud to have you leading. Thank you. So Commission, did you have anything to add besides the vote? You already voted on it.
I was gonna say, gentlemen, we've discussed, in passing conversations, just casual conversations. I know you guys are always out there working and doing your due diligence, and it's always been a benefit for the community, for both of you to be here. So it's greatly appreciated. I'm glad that the two of you are still here with the department, because, anybody could leave at any time. So I appreciate your dedication to the community, and it's nice to see the family here for everybody. And so with that, and any other comments?
We need to vote.
Okay, do I hear a motion to approve, or a motion to, a second, sorry.
I'll second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, with that, gentlemen, congratulations. All right, with that, we're gonna take a break, so that the officers and everybody can take some pictures, and then we'll be right back in a little bit. All right, moving on. Presentation, 2025 yearly review.
This is the year in review. This is everything that we've accomplished and done during the course of the last year. This report provides a factual overview of work performed by the Grosse Ile Police Department during the calendar year of 2025. This information presented is based on documented calls for service, officer-initiated activity, investigative work, dispatch operations, and administrative records. It is intended for the Township Board, the Police Commission, and the residents we serve. Overall activity for 2025, the department handled 6,332 documented incidents, averaging more than 525 incidents per month. Call volume remained steady throughout the year, with seasonal increases during the spring and summer months. The workload reflects a balanced mix of emergency response, traffic enforcement, investigative activity, resident assistance, and administrative responsibilities. Our dispatch and PSAP operations, which PSAP is another name for dispatch. Grosse Ile Department operates its own public safety answering point, serving as the first point of contact for residents seeking police assistance. In 2025, dispatch personnel handled a total of 11,148 calls. In these calls, that included 1,445 911 calls, 8,222 non-emergency incoming calls, and 1,481 outgoing follow-up calls. These calls range from routine information requests to emergency situations requiring immediate police response. Monthly incoming call volume ranged from approximately 538 to 1,083 calls per month. While not every call results in a formal police report, each requires dispatcher attention, documentation, and coordination with officers and outside agencies. Dispatch operations remain a critical component of daily police services, ensuring timely response, the continuity of care, and overall public safety for the Grosse Ile community. The Detective Bureau handles investigations involving fraud, financial crimes, sexual assault, breaking and entering, assaults, domestic-related offenses, identity theft, property crimes, and school-related incidents. These investigations represent only a portion of the overall caseload managed by the Bureau throughout the year. Each case was reviewed for solvability, prioritized based on available evidence, and assigned for follow-up. Detectives conducted interviews, collected and reviewed evidence, prepared case files, and coordinated with the prosecutor's office when charges were warranted. Investigations were tracked from intake through clearance, prosecution referral, or administrative closure. During the reporting period, detectives managed a steady investigative workload while continuing to support patrol operations, respond to time-sensitive incidents. Cases frequently required multiple follow-ups, coordination with outside agencies, and extended investigative timelines. Our current detectives are Detective Sakantaris and Detective Delpiaz. Traffic enforcement or traffic safety and enforcement. Traffic safety remained a primary focus in 2025. Officers conducted proactive enforcement targeting speed control, impaired driving, neighborhood traffic concerns, seasonal enforcement aligned with increased bridge traffic, regional agency support, and higher summer traffic volume. The department also continued integration of updated camera systems and technology to support traffic investigations and enforcement. School and youth engagement. Officers remained actively involved with the schools throughout the year. Responsibilities included participation in school safety drills, administrative coordination, bike to school safety events, crossing guard duties, and classroom engagement. The DARE program, which John Canterbury, who is now Sergeant Canterbury, he runs our DARE program. He continued this at the elementary school where fifth grade students received instruction focused on decision-making, drug prevention, and personal responsibility. Our ACO and Ordinance Enforcement Officer, Julie Cordes, she continued to provide 24/7 on-call service for animal complaints and ordinance-related matters. In 2025, she handled 442 animal-related complaints and 814 ordinance calls. These calls included enforcement, follow-up inspections, and resident assistance. Our community assistance and fire EMS support. Officers responded to welfare checks, neighbor disputes, assist calls, fire and EMS support throughout the year. These calls often involve vulnerable individuals and require coordination with medical personnel and family members. Crime prevention and proactive activity. Officers conducted 570 crime prevention activities, including patrol checks, directed patrol, and community contacts. These efforts are designed to deter criminal activity and maintain visible police presence throughout the community. Our records department, or records administration and compliance. Our current records clerk is Celeste Allant. She processed 186 FOIAs and Records Bureau requests in 2025. Additional administrative responsibilities included firearms processing, traffic UD10 reports, LexisNexis reporting, background checks, fingerprinting services, notary services, and liquor license processing. Reserve unit. Lieutenant Vasquez, who's headed this up, who's done a phenomenal job in keeping it together and actually improving our numbers. The department maintained 9 reserve officers who volunteer their time while maintaining full-time employment elsewhere. And that's very, very important to know. They're donating, they're not donating, but they're volunteering their time when they already have full-time jobs. They worked over the course of the year 715.5 total hours. They assisted with patrol operations, vacation checks, special events such as Island Fest, and other operational needs. Reserve officers meet the same training standards as full-time personnel. So any training that the road officers are doing, they are doing it as well. Interagency support and mutual aid. The department has provided assistance to other agencies 292 times. These specialized services include participation in the Downriver Community Conference Mutual Aid Pact. That is your teams like SWAT, DIVE, and crisis negotiation. So out of the course of the year, 292 times we were involved in outside communities. Training and accreditation. Department personnel completed state mandated training requirements along with additional in-service training to maintain and expand professional standards. Training include legal updates, defensive tactics, firearms qualification, emergency response, and specialized investigative instruction. The department continued its accreditation efforts through 2025. Thank you, Kevin and Chief Carmack, including policy review, documentation compliance, and internal assessments to meet required standards. In the conclusion of this report, the 2025 data reflects consistent service delivery across patrol, dispatch, investigations, administration, and community engagement. The overall workload remains steady and diverse. The department continues to provide professional service to the Township of Grosse Ile. And that is the 2025 year in review for the police department. And I know that was very long. Thank you for sticking with me.
But no, it's very, I appreciate it. Thank you.
We do take a lot of time to put that together, and this will be something that we'll post on the township website as well as social media. We'll put it on the
With
Facebook page.
records and administration that Celeste does, the 186 FOIAs and record requests, does that include the subpoenas and the disclosures that are part of the criminal cases?
There's way more that goes into it.
That's what that's what I
Right,
want to
and-
make
and
sure.
To
that-
actually accurately pull those numbers, I can't do all of that, but
Sure.
as far as FOIAs, the FOIAs are accurate. But she has way more that goes on back there.
Right.
Not to mention, you have your retention, where she has to go through every year, and she has to go back so many years and say, what do we keep and what don't we keep?
Well, that's why I want to point out for the public that every criminal case, there is, unless the attorney's not doing their job, there is a disclosure, right? There is discovery requests. There's a complete disclosure of typically what's in the police file or the prosecutor's file at that point that our department is typically responsible for providing. Subpoenas on civil and criminal cases that come from the attorneys that she's handling. So it's much more than just these FOIAs, and I just want people to understand, 186 FOIA requests, that includes redaction of private information or,
It could be
things like that.
video.
So,
I mean, and some of those take a good amount of time when you're talking about video evidence, and Scott, you would know that. I mean, you're
Yeah.
pulling that and you're dealing with plates and faces, and anything that has to be redacted in a video, it does take time. We do have some software that assists with that, but you still have to go back and you have to make sure that whatever you're releasing is redacted properly.
right. So the other thing I was gonna bring up is that with the reserve units, people think our reserves are like our volunteer firefighters. They're not. They are completely, reserves are completely voluntary. They get no benefits, no health benefits. They don't get anything, correct?
Correct.
So I want to make sure that the people in the public understand, it is truly a volunteer position with no benefits whatsoever that our reserve officers provide to this community, some of which don't even live here. They just do this because they like the experience and want to have that, sometimes on a resume because they're looking to go elsewhere in their careers, but, it's significant, the amount of time that they put in together.
We don't, and I know that Lieutenant Vasquez could speak about this way better than I can because he's been running the unit for so long, but we know what we have with that. We're one of the only agencies that still maintains and holds a reserve unit at the level that we do. And to have that at our disposal or when we need it, to have that support, I can't sing its praises more than, they do a fantastic job, and Eric does a fantastic job with it.
I think you guys bring up a really good point because I've seen it online where people say, well, just have the reserves do it. As Scott said, they have typically full-time jobs. They do this on their own time. So for instance, when you are covering the bridge with Chief Carmack and doing traffic, yes, you were able to get a couple reserves for a short amount of time. They also have jobs. That's not something they could do for long in the evenings. I think for the most part, I think that was sworn officers doing most of the traffic, most of the time. And that's what I think people don't understand is that they're giving of their time, but just like anybody else that has a full-time job or another job, they can't just come at a moment's notice. So I think that's a really good thing to highlight, that their time is not always on demand, if you will.
Taking time into consideration, you brought up the dispatch position and how many calls they're actually fielding. They're fielding over 30 calls a day on average, 365 days a year.
And it fluctuates.
And that's a fluctuation, but that's critical because a call can be quick or it could be very long, and that's important. It's a really nice role. And then going down to the animal control ordinance, she's averaging well over, a lot.
Yeah.
And so those numbers are impactful. Thanks for putting it together.
And on both of those points too, so dispatch, there's the jail involved. Contrary to what some people might think, there are actually people that are in the GIPD jail, and that's who manages the jail, are the dispatchers. And with respect to the animal control officer, I've spoken with Officer Cordes Redfield, and her job is very difficult. I don't think people understand. We do have cruelty incidents. We do have things that are very difficult for anybody, even for an ACO, but anybody that loves animals, when you see these things, they do happen here. And, I think that's another good one, Jeff, to highlight, so.
Yeah, even ordinances. It's
Yeah,
over 2.5 ordinances a day.
Yes, yes. So I think on all of these, we could probably highlight a lot of different things, but I think you both came up with some of the bigger ones But I think that's very important for people to know. I don't think people fully understand the amount of work that goes into the department. And I will also say, with respect to the used vehicle that we're purchasing, you know, for the commentary about, the department needs to live within their means. I think we're more than doing that. We have been more than doing that. But I want to commend you on that, you know, taking that extra step like that. So I appreciate that.
I thank Wendy too, because she did all the homework on
Yeah,
it.
well done.
Thank you.
She found it because I was gonna make a really poor decision on a vehicle, and she said no. So,
It was gonna be embarrassing.
yeah. Yeah, I'm not even
Thank
gonna
you,
say
Wendy.
publicly what I was thinking about driving, but
Wait, I hope it wasn't like some sort of like, you know, the Tesla truck or something to that effect.
yeah,
I'm joking, but that would.
No,
be
my
embarrassing.
understanding is that it was a drug dealer impound that, you know, had some bullet holes and stuff
Got
in
it,
it.
got it.
yeah.
I have a question about mutual aid.
Yes.
You said 292 times other communities have contacts for mutual aid.
Mhm.
How often have we contacted them for mutual aid?
That's a very good question. I know the dive team, because of where we're situated, the dive team gets used the most.
Chief, I was gonna say, that's pretty consistent around here with the
Right.
dive team
Yeah.
for mutual aid.
SWAT, we're not doing a lot of doors on the island. We're not doing raids and search warrants. So most of those are off island. So for us, for mutual aid and being part of it, it's nice to be part of it, because if we do need it, it's a phone call.
Of course.
Chief, the incident we just had this past week with that shooting, was mutual aid involved in that?
They were not. It was
Okay.
resolved quickly.
Okay.
So,
The dog on the ice, that was mutual aid, I believe, right?
that was, the dive team was called out originally for that, but then we were called off when
Okay.
they had actually located the dog, and there wasn't gonna be much that we could do with the ice and how, I mean, that's just a very, very bad area of water to be even walking out on.
Right.
And with the current and the inconsistency of the ice shelf, we couldn't have done anything except been shore support.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Wendy, anything to add?
Yeah, one thing that we don't track or touch on also is the amount of walk-ins that we get into the department, both, you know, for police and fire, that the dispatchers do take and deal with, and admin has to come out a lot, so that is definitely something that's not tracked as, you know, necessarily calls or things like that, but a lot of those need follow-up as well.
And that's a very good point. And, you know, just on the street, you have a lot of undocumented contacts, public contacts. The numbers that we're pulling are documented. That's out of our law enforcement records management CAD. That's where I'm pulling these numbers from. But I can't tell you, if you ever come in the building and see how much traffic comes through our front door, it could be just a question about something about the bike path, or why isn't that light working, or, hey, somebody hit my mailbox. I mean, it could be a multitude of things. That is a very, very busy window. And just so I don't forget all of these numbers, I have to thank the men and the women that work for the police department, because they are the ones that are doing this and handling this and being here 24/7 every day, 24 hours a day, holidays. I mean, we're here all the time, and I'm very proud of all of them, and, you know, I want to give them all thanks and appreciation.
Very good. Thank you. Moving on, seeing nobody from the public, do I hear a approval of the minutes from November 18th, 2025 of the regular police commission meeting?
Motion to approve?
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And do I hear a motion to approve the minutes of the December 2nd, 2025 special police commission?
A motion.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Department updates, anything for department updates, chief?
The only thing that I have for the departmental updates is, you know, we had myself, Deputy Chief Counts, and Lieutenant Vasquez, we're all in new positions. Not only is that, I wouldn't call it cumbersome, but it's a lot of movement and a lot of responsibility changes, and then you throw budget time of year in on top of it. I think we're finally getting settled in. And we had Sergeant Piazza just started staff in command. I believe yesterday was his first day, is that correct? So he is on his way, and he started that program. But I believe by the next commission meeting, we'll be pretty well situated and comfortable with where we're headed. So we had a meeting last week, and everybody has somewhat of clear defined roles and what's expected moving forward.
That's
Very
great news too about Rob getting into staff and command, so
Yeah,
I think it behooves all of you to, we all need to be aware that how important training is and how this department continues to make sure that everybody is trained, and you guys are doing a great job with that.
Thank you.
All right, moving on. Sorry, let me get back to my agenda because now we're all backwards. No discussion items, so monthly reports.
You're used to me doing them, but it's not me.
I know, I had to finish for a minute.
Good evening. All right, we'll just run down the list. We're pretty much doing the same format that it was done before. I tweaked a couple little things, but it's pretty much the same. But if you have any questions, feel free to interrupt. We had 694 incoming telephone calls to the station. 570 of those were not emergency calls to dispatch. It could be any number of things. It could be a quick question, or they need some advice or some guidance. 124 of them were 911 calls received. Out of the 694 calls that came in, 465 calls generated some sort of police response, whether it be an actual officer there or generating a report or something along those lines. So 465 of those evolved into an actual police service. For patrol activities, we had 82 traffic stops, 7 state or local citations issued, 20 notices to appear, which are fix-it tickets, licenses not on person, or no proof of insurance. We had 65 verbal warnings, 36 security notices. We did 8 welfare checks this month. We had 3 physical arrests, 1 for misdemeanor traffic violation and a misdemeanor warrant, 1 OWI, 1 misdemeanor warrant. For reporting, we did 39 police reports generated. 29 of those were incident reports, 10 were accident reports. Records did 7 FOIA requests last month. Animal control did 39 animal control calls, and 2 animal-related citations were issued. As you mentioned, there were 2 animal cruelty / unsanitary condition tickets issued. For the Detective Bureau, we reviewed 29 incidents, which were the reports coming in. Out of those 29 incidents, we assigned 11 for follow-up by a detective, whether that be submission of a warrant or an investigation. But some sort of action was required by the detective, and it was assigned to one of the detectives. As you can see, we did just a brief summation of the cases that were assigned. I wasn't planning on going through them, but if anyone has any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
I appreciate that you put the work into this. I think it's very important. I think we get a lot of commentary about what nothing happens on Groseal, what can they be doing, and I think, and I know I asked for some of this, quite frankly, and I believe everything you've done here is spot on. I think residents need to be aware of what goes on Groseal.
Well, they don't realize also, and it's common, and we've kind of encouraged it over the years. We didn't really want
Right.
people to think about what we're doing, because it doesn't build happy thoughts. You know what I mean? Realistically, it's not something we want people focusing on, but they do need to wear. If they want to know, by all means, tell them. But they don't understand when, a detective gets a case and there is some video evidence that goes along with it, they've got to sit there for an hour or two and pick apart that video evidence and find anything that may be of use in it. Or like today, both of our detectives had to drive out to other communities to interview people. One had to go out to the Home Depot, I think it was in Dearborn, to pull surveillance videos and talk to the security people. All of these things take time.
That was a result of the credit cards that were
Yes.
being tracked.
Yep. So all of these take time. They're not just sitting in their office, and they already have some open cases. Just because they're not, like some of the big cities where they have some, real serious cases. For the people that are involved in these, they are serious.
Correct.
So, and they handle them accordingly, but it does take time. So that's why we just kind of wanted people to understand that there is more going on behind the scenes. Like I said, it's not something we want to publicize per se, but they need to be aware that things are going on and people are busy.
No, I appreciate it, and I think we have to be very fair and honest about what is shown here, and I think you've done a great job.
Well, thank you.
All right, moving
questions?
on. Any other questions?
No.
No? Thank you,
All right.
Deputy.
Our reserve
Chief.
report, the guy who wrote it.
Good evening. All right, so we're going to cover the reserve report for January 2026. Reserve officers as a whole were 27 hours, and January is always considered a slower month, especially after the holidays.
Lieutenant, real quick.
Yes,
How many reserve officers does that utilize for those hours? Like adding up how many officers at a time?
so in this one here, it's 8.
Okay.
So let me hit these numbers a little later in this report, but for the hours here, 27 hours is 8. It actually includes 9 because we have a 9th reserve officer that we just brought on.
Very good.
So, but I'll hit that as far as numbers
Sorry.
and the applicants
Go
on this. So for January events, January 10th and 23rd, reserve officers conducted 1085 checks. What they'll do is they'll come in the station, they'll either partner with somebody, or if they can ride alone, they'll do that. And they hit the vacation homes, parks, and businesses on the island. The biggest thing that I promote, or that we promote as far as the reserve unit is, yes, they are not sworn officers. The sworn capability comes in if there's a request from a sworn officer. It gives them the authority to assist as a full sworn officer. But in this case, they're volunteers, they're eyes and ears for us, and they're also a fully marked scout car on the island, which to the average viewer, the average traffic person that's passing through the island, is just notably another cruiser on the island. So it's manpower, it's support. On the 17th, we held our annual Reserve Award ceremony. The recipients were Officer of the Year, Captain Wesley Price. Oscar Phillips Leadership Award was Officer Kyle Nelson. And Community Service Award was Officer Jeremy Gatt. This is a yearly award ceremony that we have. It goes, I don't know what date or what year it would go back to, but we have a running plaque on the wall, and it points out every Officer of the Year, with standing. So we had to expand on that on a larger plaque. So been around for a while, but there's definitely empty slots for many more to come.
Very good.
So congratulations to the recipients and the entire team for your dedication to public service. Included in those hours as well throughout the year is the second Thursday of each month, we have our monthly meeting. Included in that monthly meeting could be updates, they could be follow-ups on some events that we had, and we touch up on the detail itself, and or preparing for the next details that are coming. So typically they're a short meeting, but we've had them incorporated in our department training where they're around a couple hours. We have incident response training, critical incident response training coming up for 2 dates for the reserves, included with the sworn officers and the fire department. And they're included in this whole process. So the training is equivalent. For February, we're gearing towards February 28th is the Lucas Foundation Cold Plunge. It's a mental health awareness. It'll be held right there at East River and Grosse Ile Parkway. The event starts at 9 o'clock, and they'll provide police presence and traffic support if needed. A couple things I just want to note is that we have one applicant in the hiring process, and he looks good so far. So if we're able to bring him aboard, it would be 10, and that's a 100% improvement in manpower since I took over 3.5 years ago. Now, that's not to say that we didn't have the numbers in the past. It's just different reasons people move on, right? They either go put themselves through an academy or get hired by another department, which you stated. That was more of our younger officer reserves that we had at a point. Right now, we have majority, they're still young, right? But we have guys that are looking to have some tenure here. They just want to volunteer, help our department out, be part of the community. And we both have non-residents of Grosse Ile as well as residents as well. And then last, I think one thing that we have that's a huge benefit that other reserves of departments don't have is that we have a very good working relationship between the sworn officers and the reserves, which just makes for a better positive atmosphere. And I think that that's what sets us apart from the others.
Very good.
Any questions?
You're going to continue to run the reserve unit in your lieutenant position then?
You know, I would love to.
Okay.
I would love to, but I think that the role that I had, I was able to learn a lot, both in the reserve unit, and hopefully they learn from me as well. But I think it's a position, a role that's probably better suited for either an officer or a sergeant, so that they can walk away with the same experiences that I have. So just, was it today that you sent out the email? So today there was a post for sworn personnel with 3+ years on the job, if they're interested, to submit a letter of interest to me by March 3rd. I know there's interest, so it just depends on, who we pick. And just like I stated before to you guys, got to have the right person for this position, and we'll make sure that we pick the right person. We're moving into the ROC CF race, which is huge in March, so that's not on here. That'll be for next month. But I talked to Emily Schaller a year prior, and I'm meeting with her on Friday to go over any changes in the event itself.
I always laugh about the ROC CF race because one of my first years living on the island, and that race happened, and it was total chaos of just traffic flow, and especially down East River and, Grow, and I just laugh. And it's gotten better every year, where just now it's just don't even realize it anymore. So
Well, it's an event that is now accepted by the community, right? They know what's going on.
Yeah.
And if anybody has any traffic issues, remember, just get yourself to the middle of the island on Meridian, and you should be good to go.
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Lieutenant. All right. Do I hear a motion to approve the monthly reports?
Motion to approve?
Do I hear a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, moving on. Liaison report.
So I was kind of struggling with this one. I think there's a lot to be said. I think a lot's gone on. And so we all saw the notice that the chief sent out, the press release. And when a shotgun's fired on Grozeal in a neighborhood, it matters whether there are more than 2 officers on the road to respond safely. It's just a fact. In this case, there was not more than 2 officers. And what we're very lucky to have had is that one didn't happen to be on the south end, so far away that he could not quickly respond the way the officers were able to respond together. I don't think when certain people say things about our staffing, I really find it hard to believe things are said without educating yourself on a support model. And I know former officers, I'm not even going to get into that, but I think we need to keep in mind, we have 10 square miles to patrol. So when something like a domestic violence call comes in and it involves a firearm, again, with only 2 officers, I struggle with the lack of knowledge of some people who don't want to hear that the 3rd officer is critical. It is critical to this department for the officer safety, and it is equally critical for residents. You have to put yourself in those positions. I mean, I can probably count on maybe one hand, maybe 1.5, how many times I've ever had to call in 26 years dispatch. And I think I've called 911 once for, a light pole that was arcing and on fire. But I still had to make the calls for different reasons. And if you haven't and you say, oh, well, I don't want to pay for that and I don't want to be bothered, there are so many calls that come in that are life-threatening and critical, and our officers get there and they do their best. They can save lives, and in many cases they have. I think I feel like either I need to do a better job in educating or find a way to educate people more, but I think it's a lack of understanding and education when people say these things. So for the people that say that we need to live within our means, I struggle with that, because those are people who, you know, and many times there are people on the board who you ran for public safety as a priority. You ran for fiscal responsibility as a priority too. And to me, I am being still fiscally responsible when I advocate for the safety of residents as well as officers. And it really kind of frustrates me when some people will say, well, she's being emotional. And I rarely, if ever, anybody that knows me knows this to be a fact, throw the woman card out there. I just don't. It's not my thing. But I don't know if it's because of that that somebody would say I'm being emotional, or it's just the fact that I am frustrated by it. So perhaps I sound that way, but I want everybody to know that we are going to set up discussions, and they're going to be educational. And I really and truly am asking people to please show up when we do. Please ask questions. If you have questions now that can be answered, send me an email. You're welcome to call the township and leave a message. I will call you back. I will email you back. But please ask questions before you just think that, you know, there's no reason to consider a millage to support, you know, the officers and this department. Because I assure you, at one time, everybody will have the need for an officer on this island, and I'm hoping that they will be there for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else have anything? Mark, anything else? No. All right. Seeing no public for public comment, is there anything else that anybody needs to bring up that we haven't touched on today? All right. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I would like to give you a motion to adjourn.
I'll take that. Do I hear a second?
Second.
I'll take that too. Do I hear an all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion adjourned.